Welcome to The Coalition. This is a talk show dedicated to discussing health, wellness, and inspiration. I'm your host, Dr. Shani Belgrave.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Coalition. I'm your host, Dr. Shani Belgrave. I am a bariatric and minimally invasive surgeon at Peachtree Surgical and Bariatrics in Atlanta, Georgia. You can connect with me. You can even book a consultation, and you can do it all online at www.drshanibelgrave.com. I am ecstatic about today's show. I have with me today Dr. Jasmine McDonald. Dr. McDonald is an epidemiologist and professor at Columbia University. Dr. Jasmine McDonald earned her PhD at Harvard University and went on to complete additional training at Columbia University as well as the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. McDonald is here today to give us information about exposures that we all face that can negatively impact our health. What are these exposures that I'm talking about? Well, I'm going to let the expert, Dr. Jasmine McDonald, explain everything we need to know. Dr. Jasmine McDonald, thank you so much for joining the coalition.
No, thank you. Thank everyone else who's out there joining the coalition as well today. I am so pleased to be here to talk about a topic I am very passionate about. Endocrine disruptor chemicals. We also just call them EDCs, but we're going to get down to business about how they impact our overall health.
So, Dr. McDonald, for people who may not know what the endocrine system is, what is the endocrine system?
So the endocrine system is another name for the hormonal system. And our hormones really do regulate many, many things, from your mood to your sleep to chronic conditions that you may face. When we think about our natural hormonal system, we have our natural rhythm. But endocrine disruptor chemicals are chemicals that are found from outside that are introduced into our body that mimic what our estrogen and our androgen do. This mimicking can interfere with our natural hormone production and lead to downstream hormone-related health issues. As a cancer epidemiologist, we also know that these compounds can be carcinogenic, meaning cancer causing. And this is because they can change the way your DNA communicates. It can change the way your DNA is read. Therefore, it can result in cells that are abnormal and have uncontrolled cell growth, which is a hallmark for cancer.
That is absolutely right, Dr. McDonald. That's a bad problem. And so this is really fascinating information because they're disrupting our hormonal system. So then what does that mean in terms of other ways that they can cause poor health?
Yes. So one thing I want to just make sure everyone understands is that EDCs, or endocrine disruptor chemicals, are not just one chemical. They are a collection of chemicals. And this collection can be anything from something called phthalates, which is a code name for fragrance, or parabens, which actually helps the products you buy have a longer shelf life. Here, we're looking at the problematic link as it relates to our personal care routine or our beauty products, and the actual literature that shows all the chronic conditions that are associated with exposure to these toxic chemicals and or exposure to these beauty products. And as you see, it ranges from many hormonal conditions, everything from cancer to breast development to early puberty, which is meaning a girl starting her period earlier, which is a risk factor for breast cancer, PCOS, endometriosis, and as especially relevant to your audience, Dr. Belgrave, obesity.
This is really interesting because some of the conditions that are on here are also linked to obesity. Looking at this list, we know there's a connection between PCOS, uterine fibroids, and obesity. So it's really interesting that these different things are also linked to these endocrine disruptors. So, this is great information. You can see here that there are these different chemicals that are very problematic. They're found in a variety of hair care products. You can see they cause a laundry list of health problems. So the next thing that comes to mind is, where are they found aside from beauty products? Where are the other sources that we're being exposed?
Exactly. And, when we're thinking about beauty products, we are being exposed by our everyday routines. But as humans, we have many everyday routines when we're exposed. For example, BPA is an endocrine disruptor. So when you're buying your plastic water bottles or you're using a non BPA free reusable plastic water bottle. Plastic is made of endocrine disruptor chemicals. It has endocrine disruptor chemicals in the product. That means that those chemicals are leaching into your water that you're drinking for your health. So it's best to use a non-plastic, more like a steel water container. We all make our foods. So if we're thinking about the pots and pans we use, if you're cooking with plastic utensils and they're getting hot and heated, you can imagine that those plastics can leach into your food. When we think about non-stick and Teflon, they are also linked to health problems. So it's best to use stainless steel or even cast iron skillets. Now, when it comes to food, food also contains endocrine disruptor chemicals based on the packaging that you may buy your food in. In all honesty, Dr. Belgrave, endocrine disruptor chemicals are a part of our everyday living, and we have to be vigilant.
So, this is such a broad topic. You talked about the personal care, hair care items, how we prepare our food. And then I believe also there are pesticides and different things in some of the foods. So, can you talk a little bit about that? What are some things that we can adjust to kind of reduce our exposure?
Yeah, so what I say is I don't want anyone to be worried or concerned. I especially want to make sure that when it comes to our personal care routine, it's personal. But I also want to exercise that there are different things that you could do to help reduce your exposures. So, for example, we know that perms and relaxers, which are commonly used by women of color, are known to have a lot of these endocrine disruptor chemicals. So, thinking about alternative ways to maneuver or articulate your hair could be one way to reduce exposures. Changing the different bottles you use when it comes to water. But the fact of the matter is that I don't expect any of us to be chemists. I don't expect any one of us to look at the products on the food we shop for or the personal care products we shop for and all automatically know what is safe and what is not. And so, what I first say is make this a digestible lifestyle change.
Mm.
Choose that product or choose that food or choose that pot or pan that you use every day, that you use on a routine basis, that is constant, which is probably giving you that constant exposure, and change that. For
Mhm.
example, if you're someone who uses a daily leave in conditioner on your hair, then try to replace it with a cleaner version of a leave in conditioner. If you're someone that must wear mascara every day, try to find a cleaner, safer mascara alternative. If you cannot live without your Teflon pan, try to find an alternative to that Teflon pan. So, what I'm trying to say is that there's no reason to think that you have to overhaul your whole life in one day. It's a
Right.
process.
It's a process. That's right. It's a journey with most things. It's a lifestyle change.
Right. And there's apps that you can use to help with that lifestyle change. Like I said, you don't have to be a chemist. There's different products that you can use for the products that you buy, whether it's cleaning products or personal care products like Think Dirty or Detox Me or Clearia, where Clearia has an app as well as you can use online when you're shopping at like Amazon or Walmart. It will automatically tell you if the product you're looking at or considering purchasing is safe. For your food, you can use Yuka. And these are apps that are available in your app store, whether it be Android or the Apple. And it's a very simple use. You just take, as in this picture is showcasing, the app and you open it up so you can scan the barcode of the product. And once you scan that barcode, if that product is within the database, it gives you a, let's say, a fingerprint to how clean or how toxic that chemical is. And then it will identify for you which chemicals are in it that are very harmful or
Mhm.
moderately harmful.
This is fascinating. I was not familiar with any of these apps. So this is an incredible resource and a really good tool. So thank you so much for providing this really great information. What are some key takeaways, Dr. McDonald, that you would want to summarize for viewers as they try to, maybe some people have never even heard of an endocrine disruptor? I know we talked about the personal care, beauty, we got into a little bit about containers and food. Can you speak a little bit about this, you know, cost and money is important too as we try to live our lives.
Yes.
So as we try to figure out, should we be buying every single thing we eat organic, or there's certain things that are more important to prioritize as buying organic?
Yeah, so when it comes to organic foods, the key is that they are not sprayed with a high dose of like fungicides or pesticides, and so that they are free of these chemicals that are known to be, once again, estrogenic or androgenic, which are hormones, or carcinogenic as cancer causing. So there is a phrase of the dirty dozen and the clean 15 when it comes to the products, the produce that you buy. When you think about the dirty dozen, it includes like berries such as strawberries, blueberries. It includes apples and peaches, and it also includes like kale. But
Okay.
imagine when I say that we're talking about these pesticides and fungicides being sprayed on a product. These are all products that I just mentioned that you can pick up and bite into. Their skin is not so much protecting the inner fruit. You literally are picking it up and eating it. Therefore, that you're getting more of a high dose of that exposure. Now, the clean 15 are products that have either a thicker skin, like watermelon or melons. You don't pick up a watermelon and just eat it, right? Like
I
you
hope not.
you can't get to, yeah, you can't get to the fruit. Um, and when you think about like corn, like corn is wrapped in its own casing, or sweet potatoes, they're under the ground, or onions. These are things where it's less likely that these chemicals really touch the edible portion. So when I
Okay.
say, when you're thinking about like buying, it's hard to remember what the dirty dozen is. It's hard to remember what the clean 15 is. So rule of thumb, if you can pick it up and bite into it, you should probably buy organic. If you
Okay.
can pick it up and you can't bite into it, you're fine with buying non-organic.
That is an excellent tip. That is awesome because that's easy to remember and kind of easy to figure out. Thank you so much for that. So we talked about lifestyle change. The goal of this show and this platform is to really transform lives. And so,
Yes.
can you kind of take us through how can we begin to relearn our habits?
Yes, so once again, it's habits and it doesn't happen overnight. But when we think about the routines we have on a daily basis, we can consider limiting the number of products we use every day
Mhm.
because these are exposures that are based off of constant use and they're chronic because it's not like you choose to not use soap on some days, right? Like it's a
Right.
routine behavior. So start thinking about limiting the products. For example, if you use constantly those home air fresheners, the aerosols, you may want to not use those as much because that's inhaling as well as digesting endocrine disruptor chemicals. So you have to ask yourselves, do I need this? Like, do I really need these the little things you put in for the dryer sheets? Like, do I really need these scented dryer sheets? And then check the label, go fragrance free, paraben free, phthalate free. It's not so hard to find these days as there is movement to creating cleaner products. And fragrance free, because fragrance is just a code word for a chemical known as phthalates. And they're what makes your product smell good. So you can literally go for a no scent product in exchange. And that's where it comes to using alternative products. Like it's not saying don't use the type of lotion that you love, like the facial lotion. But if the facial lotion comes in a fragrance free, then try to use the fragrance free and avoid using the sprays and the aerosol products because once again these are products that could introduce you and your whole household. So if you have children, husbands, sons, older people, etc., they are being exposed to.
Wow. This really was very eye-opening. You really taught me a lot of things that I didn't know. So thank you so very much, Dr. McDonald. It is an honor to have an expert of your caliber on the show. So Dr. Mama Boss, I saw that you are the founder. You are Dr. Mama Boss. What does that mean?
Means exactly how it says. Like, I'm a doctor, I've been educated, and my passion is education. My passion is learning. My passion is understanding how to improve the population's health, especially women's health. And so, through that, my passion comes from being a mother. I have a child whom I want to see their children living in a world where they don't have to worry about some of these same exposures that we're facing. And so I have to do it boss style. The mission is to be a boss in whatever avenue that I can help forward this mission. This is talking to breast cancer survivors. This is talking to the youth. This is talking to physicians, lawyers, anybody who needs to understand how these external exposures, not just endocrine disruptor chemicals, but just exposures, how we live our lives affects our health. And that's what I want to educate. That's where I want to make my impact.
That's what matters, breaking it down in a way that it's beneficial and useful. So, Dr. Mama Boss, aka Dr. Jasmine McDonald PhD, thank you so much for joining the coalition. I really do think this information is going to transform lives. You do research, you do teaching, you do lectures, you do speaking. What is the best way that organizations or people that need access to your expertise can connect with you?
Well, I know you have that fancy way to showcase things at the bottom, but you can find me on Twitter or Instagram, where my handle is Dr. Mama Boss. And really just reach out. I really want to make this message clear because it impacts multiple generations and our lifelong health.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mama Boss. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed that episode and the expertise that Dr. Jasmine McDonald, aka Dr. Mama Boss, came and provided. As for me, you can link up. You can even book a consultation online, www.drshanibelgrave.com. Take care. I'll see you next time.